Hello and welcome to our admittedly short day 2 cast of Racer Summit. We'll just be casting this one match, but it looks like a belter. Joining me again today is Babs. I am Patstar01, and the match we have today is quite a spicy one. For fans of the British region, we have Bozbez versus Acrose versus Spam versus Massa. These are two players who we've seen perform very well in a regional level versus two of the longest running top level players in the game.
Yeah, it's really going to be a great game. We've seen both Boz and Acrose, as you said, performing at regional level, but also perform in this event. And, some of these players are going to feel unlucky to be down in this lower bracket match, and I feel like there might be some vengeance to be served up.
For sure. Now, in our cast, Acrose isn't actually a player we managed to pick up at all yesterday. We were following the Epos domination. And Acrose has had a very successful little tournament here, almost passed me by. Making it on to day 2, which with the caliber of player taking part at Racer Summit is far from trivial.
I think Acrose has really probably outperformed expectations, considering everybody was looking at Epos, at Boz coming into this, but Acrose, I think, went down to the lower bracket earlier than any of the other British players, but has really looked strong since then. Has had some quite dominant performances in the games it's been involved in.
Sure, it's been a solid lower bracket run so far for him.
And day 2, nobody knows what's happened between the last matches from yesterday and this morning, so we could see different faces appear today. We could see some players looking a bit stronger even, and some players maybe crumbling a little bit. We're still waiting for Massa to join. There might have been some delays in getting set up.
Indeed, our correspondents down on the ground, in the form of Idol, has let us know that Massa is getting set up, but him and Granani turned up a little bit late. So, just waiting for them. As much as I can talk about Boz and Acrose all day, there are two other players who are in this match. And one who has intrigued me making it this far is Spam. Because he didn't look great in the first match we watched. It was him, Roy, and Epos. And although he beat Roy, it was quite tight. And then in the lower bracket match we followed yesterday, he came from about 40 points behind to pull off the most ridiculous comeback I've ever seen against both Roy and Jarvis. And then he's got on to day 2, continuing this lower bracket run. And we mentioned that these players who have been in the game for such a long time, the longer they stay in the tournament, the scarier they get, and I wonder whether Spam is waking up and yeah.
So straight away into the map selection. Massa, coming down from the upper bracket, is the first seed. He picks Bonga to be the first map. Bozbez has selected Everglades from Mellow. Now it should be Acrose, I believe, who picks next map.
I believe so.
Yeah, like you were saying, I think it's a case of these players staying in the competition for longer. They just get stronger and stronger, and Spam is a player who plays really on emotion, and he's on home ground against some of the best players in Europe. So it must awaken something to really perform at this level. And he really has done, and he's one of the players that maybe we wouldn't expect to get through this game, but depending on how it pans out, everybody has a chance here.
Do we have any predictions coming in? Who do you think of the two who's going to make it out of this game?
You see, I nearly want to wait until 1 or 2 maps in.
Nope, you have to go.
Have a better idea.
Have to go now.
But I'm gonna say Massa and Bozbez.
Massa and Boz.
And that I'm not counting out the other two. I will be proven wrong happily.
Yeah. I've just got a feeling about Spam's run. I'm going to say Spam and Boz. But, again, not saying Massa just feels like a ridiculous pick, but not saying any of these players always feels ridiculous to me. Do you only want to say Acrose feels like a slight underdog? But
yeah, but that can nearly play to your advantage. Sort of like similarly to Spam, who might be a bit of an underdog. When it's nothing is expected from you, you can play almost a bit, freer and not worry about all the expectation. Whereas, I know Boz would expect a lot from himself and would want to get out of this game, and Massa would be disappointed from yesterday in that game where he really should have qualified first from his upper bracket match and has somehow ended down here. So,
right.
Also play for.
Match starting. Hopefully all those points are going to be reset, and this is going to get very confusing. But we move on to the first map here. This is Bonga. It should be Bonga, or did they redo map selection? I am not sure. I apologise for that. But we are on Think Twice by Ski Freak. Warming up here. 4 incredible players taking part in this LAN. I am very excited for this match. I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, and let's not forget, this is not the only match that is happening currently. We do also have another lower bracket match which is happening at the same time. The players up in the upper bracket are still waiting for these ones to conclude, and then they will play out their final. But still a lot of good players left in this competition. We have 3 BITM players, 2 of which are competing in the match on your screen, with Epos having a brilliant first day yesterday and really setting himself up to be the favourite to take the overall win quite early on, from day one.
Yeah, of course, that match is being shown over on the Races Summit stream. After this match is done, there will only be one match at a time, so we will be going over there ourselves and raiding at the end of this, I imagine. But for now, we get this match to ourselves and get to enjoy whatever this may bring. Right, we are getting underway on this match here. Who's going to take a first lead? Smooth move so far.
It almost feels like a chess game. Whoever makes the first mistake, the others can capitalize. Boz and Acrose have a bit of a slower start. Massa and Spam are taking the lead. That's the first mistake from Acrose.
Unfortunately, clips that little hole there. We've seen Madrift catch off a few people. Massa and Spam neck and neck at the moment, and Boz just 2 tenths behind, ready to pick up any mistakes from either of them.
Yeah, they really are driving hand in hand, going over that section that we've seen cause issues before. Massa goes for a bit of a wider line. Normally Spam should have better speed coming out of this section, and he does. He takes the lead into first place. This drift is very important. Who gets more speed? Spam got it quite well, but had to adjust a little bit. Massa cannot overtake, and it should be a 1-2 for Spam and Massa. Boz 3 tenths behind in third, and Acrose comes across the line in fourth.
That will be a very encouraging round for Spam's mental there, I think. As we said, very momentum-based player, both him and Massa, so I think Spam is looking scary now. He's warmed up a bit after lukewarm started yesterday, and what was that from Acrose?
It looked like a slight little clip on the first precision section. I was going for that inside line at the start. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah, well, it's paid off so far this time. Neck and neck. What a beautiful drift from Spam! What was that?
Boz has good speed going into the dirt now. It is once again
Clip
Spam Massa, but Spam clips on the outside. He is going to fall back. I wonder if Acrose will probably take up that third spot in the race. Massa is holding strong at the front. Boz goes for that outside line again. I said this in the previous round. He's going to have more speed than Massa. He is going to catch up slightly, but not really enough. He goes for a wide outside drift. It is not good enough though. Massa is going to comfortably take first spot here. second for Boz and third for Acrose, and Spam misses out on another 10 points with a mistake in the track.
Tell you who will be kicking themselves. Acrose lost 0.5 by the first CP and came third of that round by only 0.3. He had the pace to win that round if it wasn't for that silly mistake at the start. He almost caught Boz despite it.
Oh,
and it's Boz's turn to make the same error. So tempting to just go a little bit too inside there, and ultimately Boz paying the price for that time round.
I think Boz has made an additional mistake. He is further behind now. Acrose, for the first time, is in contention in this round. He has a bit more speed than the other two. Bit of a wider line, can attack this dirt down into the bobsleigh, and he comes out with a bit more speed than the other two. Massa, very nice tech section from him, maintains that first spot. Spam goes lower onto the transition, gets an earlier drift, and is hand in hand with Acrose. Massa again with that inside line. Will it pay off for him this time? He does have good speed. Acrose has better speed. Going down into the drift, Massa gets it slightly wide, but has good speed. Acrose got it very well, but he goes wide in the cross, and it's all three together towards the end. Who takes it? Acrose takes it by... It's equal time.
It's equal.
It's
5,000th. I believe that would be on account of who went through the previous CP ahead, which I think was actually Massa. I think it was Massa, Acrose, Spam, but the name differs between Acrose and Spam, so... That's incredible. This is the level we're talking here. What a round.
And now, here we are into the fourth round. There's another mistake from Acrose. That's 3 out of 4 rounds where he's made a mistake, and on the first map that just puts you at such a disadvantage.
Another mistake from Boz as well.
Additional mistake from Acrose. So now it is between Massa and Spam. Let's not forget this is Massa's map pick. So he is feeling confident on this one, and he has shown that. You know, he's been playing very, very well.
But he hasn't exactly built up a massive lead. It's only 3 points separating Spam, Massa, and Acrose, and Boz 7 points behind. But this is looking like a comfortable round for Massa. 10th advantage heading into this drift. So if he can get this well, you'd imagine it's fairly safe, and it looks like this will be a solid win for Massa from Spam. See, Acrose has not had a good round here, and is Acrose finishing? Oh, it's gonna be tight.
3,
2, 1. No! Oh, Acrose denied those 3 points for 4th place. That is
not good.
Very unfortunate.
That means that he goes from being 3 points off the lead before the round to being 13 points off the lead, which is, not a nice position to be in. So really, Massa and Spam have struck the first blow in this fight after that first map, but this one can maybe throw a wrench in the works. You know, it's got that interesting ice section. Boz was very good on this yesterday. Boz struggled a slight little bit, and I don't know, we haven't seen Acrose yet, so it's going to be interesting to see who takes the upper hand on this one.
Yeah, we've seen solid glimpses of pace from Acrose and Boz here, but they've been struggling on the consistency compared to Spam and Massa. So if they can iron that out and get their head slightly more in the game, they can definitely be a threat, but I think both of our British players here are having to push a little harder to try and keep up with these, veterans of the scene.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been saying that. I think either Massa and Spam have gotten a lot more comfortable after playing, one full day on the maps, or they might have even practiced a little bit last night, because they are looking very, very strong. Boz really just hasn't been there as yet, either made a mistake or been just slightly off the pace. So he'll be looking to have a good map here to hopefully close that gap.
Right, we get underway here on map 2. This is Danger by Whiskey featuring Ski Freak. And Acrose doesn't really get the outside dirt as well as he would have hoped. Looks like a clear front three here. Now we move on to this no grip ice. Very unique corner that
Boz got it quite well.
Oh,
So
Massa
Spam.
did not. This turns into 2 up front here. Boz versus Spam. If I remember right, this was a map where Boz looked very good on yesterday. It felt like one of his stronger ones. And assuming I'm not misremembering that, this is showing through so far. As for the first time, he's in the lead here, and looking alright, but still neck and neck with Spam. This final drift is so important, and it looks like Spam got it a little better there. But there's still room to mess up the ending here.
Very nice end from Spam.
Spam isn't going to make that mistake. Second place Boz, third for Acrose, and Massa comes home fourth after a mistake on that ice section.
So Spam really the big winner in that round, you know, gets the extra points on Massa, moves up into first spot, and maintains or even extends his lead to the other 2 players. Who are really going to have to react quite soon to stem the bleeding, because it cannot continue like that if they want to have any hope of qualifying. Spam got off to a great start in this round, heading into the ice. Acrose takes a bit more from the inside line. Looking quite good, but exits very horizontally, is going to lose a lot of speed, and Boz is not much better. It is Massa and Spam, but Spam has quite the lead. 0.25 going into the grass and up into this black platform drift. It takes it very tight, and now tight onto the dirt, onto the uphill. The gear management is very important here. He gets it quite well. Massa is following suit in second place. Boz and Acrose are fighting for those minor placings at the moment, really with no hope of closing the gap to the front 2 unless there is a mistake from one of them, but they have looked so strong thus far. Spam again with a decent end. Massa following through as well as first, second, and third and fourth for Boz and Acrose.
Yep. Spam picking up a second win of a bounce, extending that lead to Massa. And I get the feeling that these rounds are becoming more and more important for Boz and Acrose if they want to try and get some momentum back on their side. That is an early mistake from Spam and an early mistake from Boz there. People struggling on this initial outside dirt here, leaving...
Start from Massa.
Yeah. Acrose and Massa 0.3, 0.4 ahead now. Acrose going way too wide here. He's just about saves it, but at the expense of about 0.3 of a second. And Spam and Boz, despite their early mistakes, catch up there, and this is looking like an incredibly comfortable round for Massa at the front here. The main fight appears to be Spam versus bozbez for the second place.
It's important for Boz to get this second spot, to get those first and second places in these rounds, to keep touch with the front 2. Just staying ahead of Spam here would be already a decent performance. Acrose is not even that far behind. Spam pushes it quite a bit. Gains slightly, but not enough to catch up, and that's a nice 0.4 from Massa.
Yeah, that's a very good time from Massa there. Moves Massa and Spam equal on points now, 49. 16 points back to bozbez now. And Acrose with a late start. Did Acrose count the number of rounds wrong?
That would be sad.
That is unfortunate. Leaving 3 at the front here. Have to pin our British hopes on Boz here, who gets the ice quite well. All the players have been struggling here, but Boz with an early lead here.
Yeah, and first place here, plus 10 points would be crucial for his hopes of qualifying.
Yeah.
Spam has got the dirt quite well, but Boz still maintains his lead. He's being hunted down by these 2 players now. Massa with incredible speed on the uphill. Catches right up and is on the tails of Boz, but gets a little bit wider on the plastic. And Boz is going to have the advantage going into the last drift. He needs to get it well. He has to compensate. Does Massa have more speed? Yes, he does. He's going to get that first place. And Boz gets sniped by Spam. He just hit the finish.
Oh, that's very so unfortunate. Loses his whole advantage in the last corner there. Massa gets an absolutely beautiful drift and then slightly clipping this finish block there. Very unfortunate for Boz. and we move now on to map 3, which will be Bonga. From watching these, I feel like it's been one of the more consistent tracks, perhaps.
It definitely seems like it's been a favourite, yeah.
Yeah, or maybe that was just a case of watching Epos destroying everyone on it yesterday. The most challenging part, as a spectator, seems to have been this outside dirt, or this whole dirt section. It's easy to just, like, clip a wheel on the inside and get bounced off the line, or clip a wheel on the outside and just lose all of your speed.
Let me just try and have a look at what's happening in the other games.
Yes, we are lacking OC today, unfortunately. He is chatting away, but we have no correspondence we can hop into.
Give me a minute, I'll get all the information we need. So in the other lower bracket match, which is on the main Racer Summit cast, we do have Ender, Stuffs, Lumar and Complex. And Stuffs seems to have had a brilliant start to the competition. He's on 91 points, followed by Complex on 79. And then it's close with Ender on 77 and Lumar is a bit behind on 49. So looking good for Stuffs to stay in the competition, then a close fight between Complex and Ender.
But I think Stuffs had a little bit of a disappointing performance in his final match of yesterday, going down into that lower bracket. But if he's able to competently drag himself back out of it, then that would be good to see. I'm slightly biased, of course, supporting Stuffs as the teammate of Wizzy in regionals, and that's a mistake from Acrose back in this game.
From Massa as well.
Yeah, Massa has been behind since the start. And this is a
good
golden opportunity for Boz. Is he going to get it? I don't know. He does by 13,000. Boz just picks up the win. That's a very, very important round for Boz there. Hopefully he can start building up some momentum. It was unfortunate to lose last round by such a tight little gap on that final drift. But he's got redemption for it this round. And maybe he can start to kick on here, denying more points from Spam and Massa.
Yeah, and crucially in that round, Massa did get last, which meant he only got 3 points. That was 7 points caught up for Boz. You know, he's still within touching distance of the front two, and you know, with finalist mode towards the end, anything can happen. You know, Spam knows that too well as Massa, and Boz additionally will be banking on that coming towards the end game of this match. But that's a mistake from him on the inside of that drift. And he has lost contact with the front three. Spam is leading ahead of Massa. This uphill has been quite important, determining who gets the best exit onto the dirt. They all get it quite nicely. Spam is leading as we go into the last drift. Goes for a bit of a wider setup. It should be him with more speed. Massa is close. Also is Acrose, but they are going to stay in formation as they head through the finish.
Barely 10 separating them. That's another win on the board for Spam here. Having a very good match. But unfortunate mistake there from Boz costing him.
Unfortunately, Boz, after that first position, gets a last place straight after, which is just not what you want. Spam is looking very consistent and very good on these maps, and we said it before, you know, he just needs a bit of time in the competition, a bit of a run, and then he can be quite scary, and that's exactly what he's doing at the moment. Alongside his former competitor in TMGL, Massa, they're really dominating this game. Acrose and Boz needs to find the answer. Boz is trying to do so, fighting every round, but there gets a little bit of airtime off the sausage, is caught up to by Acrose. To jump down into the dirt. Spam is leading. Massa takes a very tight line, and he benefits from it quite a bit. Goes from 4th spot right into contention for first. Spam is still leading. Boz risks it on the outside. Massa gets a bit of airtime. Who's going to get first place? It is Spam.
What happened to Boz?
Of Massa, and I think Boz just slid out at the end, but what a round we have just seen.
My God, these are all just so close, and I don't believe that the scoreboard is telling the full story of how Acrose and Boz are performing here. Because the pace from all of these players is insane. But Spam seem to have the most consistency at the moment, able to pick up those first places, even if it's only by a fraction.
Ooh, nobody makes a mistake early on. Was that?
Yes, that wasn't what you thought it was.
No, Spam has fallen into 4th place in this round. An opportunity for the other players to catch up, and just as I said that, he overtakes Acrose through the tech section. Massa looking comfortable in that first spot. Spam is hunting Boz in that second spot, but Boz is going to have more speed heading down towards this last drift. Massa comfortably gets a nice outside drift with some good speed, and unless any mistakes, they should keep that formation. So 2nd place for Boz ahead of Spam, and Acrose has to settle for another 4th place.
Keeps Boz slightly closer, but he's still got a solid 25-point disadvantage he needs to overhaul. Meanwhile, Spam and Massa are looking so close. I don't know who's going to win out of those two in this match. Unless Boz basically does what Spam did yesterday to Jarvis and Royboy. It's quite unlikely that he's going to pick up a win here, but anything's still possible. We saw how many rounds Massa was in finalist on yesterday in his previous upper bracket match before being dropped down to the lower bracket, so it's all good getting up to 120 points, but you still need to get that final win. And some players can really struggle with that.
That's the case for Stuffs in the other lower bracket match as well. He is going to head into finalist after this round with Complex taking the win there. So Complex is going to be on 105 points behind Stuffs, who's just gone into finalist, and Ender is not going to be far behind as well on 97. Bloomer a little bit further behind, needing something of a miracle to qualify from that one. But yeah, looking good for Stuffs, and a close second for Complex and Ender.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's quite happening, because it looks like Boz and Acrose have disconnected from the server. I'm presuming those are just some technical difficulties. Of course, everyone's on site, so should hopefully be a quick fix. Not the standard debugging of Welsh internet that Acrose has to deal with normally. But yeah, there may be a maybe a brief break here from this match. There's some
make the most of it and get myself some water. I'd encourage anybody else to do so as well, because we have seen some great action this far. I'll be right back.
OC reckons Boz has put his mouth through BITM's head. This is a very real possibility. And Acro's fallen asleep. I've seen some conversation in chat I can look at during this break about who will get the overall win. I am still Team Epos, of course. I am going to be massively biased as a British player and a British caster. But who are the other takes in chat? Suggestion of Mime could win. Who else? I think Panda has looked very good as well. Wait, the admin can't. Oh, Chem. Chem, fix it. It wouldn't be a Trackmania tournament without some technical difficulties. We know how reliable the servers unfortunately are in this game sometimes, and we have to thank Kem for at least not bringing down the entirety of Cup of the Day for a weekend, like he did during Gamax last weekend, but hopefully this doesn't take too long to get resolved. Calls in chat to restart the entire match, or restart it with Boz and Acrose on finalist. I'm not sure that's necessarily fair, but we will have to wait and see.
I can tell you that Stuffs has qualified in first position in his match.
Stuffs is through. Good stuff.
Complex is currently in finalist with Ender on 106 points. Not far behind in the current round. It looks like Complex is a little bit off the pace, so Ender with a chance to catch up and keep himself in the fight.
Who's fourth player in that game?
That is Lumar, who's on 73 points. So, as Ender has just made a mistake, but also Complex. So Lumar with a chance to catch up. Obviously, I'm sorry you can't see it on your screen currently, but I am trying to keep you guys in the loop as best as possible.
Dansky's suggesting that we restart match with me on finalist. That would still require me to win one round, which against these players on a map I haven't discovered is never going to happen.
Oh, and now Spam has left the match.
But Boz is back in. And Spam's back.
Spam.
We're still waiting on Kem or Acrose to manage to make it in. Oh, bye Kem.
And there's Acrose. Good stuff.
I guess we can do a little speculation here. Babs, you've played in a LAN. I haven't. And you are also pretty decent at the game, which I'm not. How do you think that a break like this would affect the player's mental? Do you think this could lose momentum for Spam or Massa a bit and maybe give a chance for Acrose and Boz to reset, or possibly do the opposite?
I think it's always situational and dependent on the person. There is the argument that Spam and Massa have such experience and so much experience on LAN that it probably won't affect them or might even benefit them. I think we're going to see that probably in the early rounds after this break. It might help some people. Boz has been quite unlucky with a few little mistakes or a few little, unlucky situations in the previous maps, and it could just be a moment to reflect and reconcentrate and reset before the upcoming map. So I honestly can't say. I think we'll just see in the first few rounds after the break.
Indeed, but it looks like everyone is back in the server. All the points look to be correct. And yeah, with any luck, this match can get back underway. Of course, it's been such a tight fight for the lead between Spam and Massa. But I still believe in Boz and possibly Acrose with an ability to start an upset.
Is the benefit of having the finalist mode is there's always a chance. You don't necessarily have to be leading on points, but once the players start getting into those finalist positions, if you can just deny them qualifying and keep closing the gap, then you always have a chance.
Right, we get underway here. Break's over. Kem has fixed it. And you can see how these four players will perform over on Sturfruit. Quite a spicy map, shall we say. Plenty of room for error on some of these bits. This transition, so rewarding if you can get it well, but so punishing if you don't. Spam carries so much speed there, and that's a big mistake from Massa. How far back is that? Dropping almost half a second there. Which, on any other map, you'd say they might be out of contention. There's enough spice on this map. But maybe not. Acrose with lead here does the ice turnaround very well. Leading from Boz briefly for British 1-2. Lost it now. Spam clips, and this is suddenly looking good for our British players. The two Wombo players kicking off well after the technical difficulties with a first and a second place.
That's exactly what we wanted to see, and it's still early days, but some uncharacteristic mistakes from Spam and Massa. We have seen some of those yesterday on the specific map. It's pretty challenging for most of the players, but very big win for Acrose and Boz heading into round 2.
Everyone fairly equal at the start here. Spam again slightly further behind, but only a 10th, which on this map can easily be made up later on. No mistakes yet. Massa avoids repeating his clip from the previous round. And in fact looks in a fairly solid position here, but this ice turnaround can decide so much. But everyone got it fairly equal there. Boz gets past Massivo and onto this dirt, and this is a surface that Boz loves. He loves outside dirt. Favours his very strange input device quite well. And he picks up a win on this map. Closing up that points gap again. Unfortunately, Acrose with a mistake, unable to repeat his victory from previous round, but these are the rounds that Boz needs to be driving if he wants a chance to get out of this match.
Yeah, just staying in touch, that sort of 20-point threshold from first to yourself is always important, and he's just below that, which means that, you know, he's got at least 2 rounds when somebody goes into finalists. So if you can keep up these performances and keep that gap sort of as reduced as possible, then he's always got a chance.
Big
And there's a
mistake
mistake
from Massa.
from Massa. He's looked quite good on this start previously, but that one he just risked it a little bit too much. Boz takes the lead. Spam with a very good drift. He's done a lot of those during this match. A very tight one there as well. Might have a bit less speed. Across goes for that outside line, but clips on the grass. Boz is leading them into the ice.
So
to the
far on the
turnaround.
outside bar.
And he gets it quite good. He's followed closely by Spam, but this could be another win for Boz. It could mean quite a bit, and the position he's in, he could almost safe it. He gets a very good dirt outside land. Spam has low speed, but it's not really going to matter as Acrose and Massa are far behind. And there's another 10 points for Boz. Second is for Spam. Acrose makes the finish, and Massa should get there in time.
Massa finish. He's quite far back, but assuming he makes it risky, which he does, there are no issues there. I'd like to quickly apologise for lack of name tags. I think the everyone leaving and rejoining the server seems to have slightly confused my game and is now refusing to put name tags on anyone. So, at least for this match, everyone has 4 very different coloured cars, so it makes it a little easier to differentiate who is who. Massa in the green, Spam in the purple, Boz in the dolphin blue, and Acrose in the beautiful black and gold Wumbo skin. Everyone makes it through this first transition with no issues.
Very good start from Massa. Edges out an early lead ahead of the other players. Spam is joining him up there. Gets a little bit of a dodgy transition, so it's caught up to by Boz. Boz gets a bit more speed, but this left-right on the dirt is so important. Massa corrects with a few brake taps, allows Boz back into that first spot.
So
What an
outside
dirt from Boz. He gets good speed, but he's still neck and neck with Massa. He's going to have more speed if he gets this end correctly. Then he should take that first spot. It's very nice. It's low from Massa. It's 0.1, and it's a win for Boz. Another 10 points. Very, very good performance in the last few rounds from Boz.
Boz is looking very comfortable on this map. He slashed his 25-point gap down to, what is it now? Less than 10.
8 points, yeah.
On this map, Boz has really pulled himself back into this. It looks like they're talking about whether or not the technical difficulties may have affected some people's mental, but you definitely get the feeling it might have given Boz a chance to reset. I believe that was a total of 3 wins in a 4th place, and a 2nd place even.
Yeah.
On that map, and Boz has to be very happy with that performance. On to Everglades now.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the more standard maps. Danger obviously has a very difficult eyesight people can make mistakes on, and Stirfruit has many difficult sections. Whereas this one, consistency might be less of an important factor. But even in warm-up, we've seen the mistakes that Spam can make there. And if Boz drives like this in the round, he should be very happy with himself.
I can confirm that Complex did end up taking that 2nd spot after Stuffs, which means that Lumar and Ender are eliminated at this stage.
Commiserations to Lumar and Ender there. Still very impressive performances to reach the second day. But congrats to Complex and Stealthville. Heading towards what I presume will be a lower bracket consolidation final between those two and whoever makes it out of this game, which it is all still to play for. Boz, though, not with the start he would have wanted, dropping back a couple attempts immediately.
Yeah,
Spam, Acrose and Massa all neck and neck though.
This drift, oh, it's so impressive from Spam how he is able to manage the momentum of the car in that sausage drift and edges out the lead. Going into the plastic, can he maintain it? Bozbez has overtaken Acrose into third spot.
Very close to Massa here, but I think the track is going to end just a little bit too early for him. And Boz with some promising pace, despite that those couple attempts lost right at the start. But he kind of kept with the pack after that point, so you'd hope he has the pace to win rounds here.
This is going to be a close fight. You know, Spam and Massa, I think, looking quite good on this map. Paul's obviously going to need a good performance to stay in touch and try and qualify himself. That's going to be interesting to see who shows up in the following rounds. And for the moment, it is Acrose in that first spot.
Indeed. And Spam has crossed that 110-point barrier, so a win here for Spam would put him into finalist mode. Potential for the Dutchman to wrap it up in the next two rounds.
And he is on a really good run, so is Acrose, pushing it through that line, and Acrose takes first spot. Is going to be a bit more outside on the plastic, but should have a bit more speed than Spam, who is going to take it as we go into the end. It is so close. Acrose just edges Spam out at the end by 200s, but what a round that was. Very good round from Acrose.
Yeah. Acrose fallen behind slightly in terms of points, but you can still see that pace that he has. And the fact he can still go and pick up these round wins. Spam, so long as he finishes, guaranteed into finalists this round. Chance for Massa to get into it as well. But Acrose Fair denying Spam at least one shot on finalist. Which certainly helped play into the hands of Boz, his W. teammate.
The two Wumble players have fallen slightly behind. Acrose again pushing that drift. Really, really good.
He looks so good on this track.
Spam comes out just with a bit more speed. Acrose, once again in a similar situation to the last round, pushes it again, gets more speed than Spam does. Incredible drift from Acrose. Should carry that speed through the plastic section. Spam can only watch him drive away into the distance, as it should be another 10 points for Acrose. Spam heads into finalist. And crucially, Massa is not going to head into finalist himself.
No. He'll have to wait possibly another round, maybe another two at this rate. Acrose really turning up on this map. If last map was Boz's time to shine, this one is certainly Acrose picking up a couple of round wins on the bounce. But all eyes are now on Spam. Can he secure his place in the next round of competition? Make it to the top 8 of the tournament. It's certainly looking good for him now. He's got an early lead ahead of Massa. Two British players a little bit behind right now. And it looks like it's... Yeah, it looks like it's going to be on Massa to try and deny Spam here. But Acrose with him too. And we head towards the final section of the track. Massa looks a little low on speed, but I think he'll have enough safe to finish. And Acrose, can he pick up second? Ooh, no! Denied by 6 thousandths. Losing out on a couple of points there, but that moves Massa into finalists. We now have a double finalist between Spam and Massa to try and get out of this lower bracket match as we move on to our next track here. We will be turning up back to think twice where we started this match. And a map where you'd have to say Boz and Acrose did not look at their best. The consistency wasn't quite there. And this is a map where Spam and Massa did look like dominant forces. So, we'll see whether or not this plays into their hands and whether they can spring an upset, but...
It may be a situation where you just have to push if you're Acrose and Boz. You know, Boz would ideally want a 10 points from this first round to get himself into finalist as soon as possible. But it is a big ask against the two players that are ahead out on the scoreboard. Acrose really sort of brought himself back into this maybe a bit too late. You know, if that map came earlier for him, it could have been something to call home about. But yeah, it's up to Spam and Massa whether they can close it out, and it's up to Boz whether he can show up and have a better map than he did on this one previously.
Yeah, if Boz can hold it together, he's actually only 2 rounds from getting out, 2 wins, and he'd be first through, which admittedly is an incredibly large ask, but he's within that crucial 10 points of finalist mode now. So we get underway on what could be the final round for a couple of these players if they manage to pick up the win. Acrose with the early lead though, but it's too close to tell at this point. And Acrose loses a bit on that drift, and this is looking like a solid chance for Spam here. Massa losing some speed there. Boz trying to see whether he can at least go and pick up a second place to deny Massa, but I think Spam has this fairly under control until he clips, and Spam loses it, and now all eyes are on Massa. Can Massa capitalise on this golden opportunity? I don't know if he can. It'll all come down to this final drift. It matters so heavily how much speed you carry, and Massa has got it to perfection. Gets a slightly dodgy landing, but it's still enough. And almost in the complete opposite of his game yesterday, Massa wins the match, making it through into the lower bracket consolidation final. Huge congrats to him. May have turned up late to the match, but he'll be the first to leave it. And now it comes down to these last 3 players. Acrose, you'd have to say, probably out of it. But
it's a poor start from the two BITM players. Boz kind of, I think, in between 2 minds whether to go for that inside line or outside line, and Spam has an early lead and he has looked confident on this map thus far. Close pushing that grass uphill. He's got good speed, he's catching up to the person in first place, and this end of the map is going to be so crucial. Can Spam hold it together? He couldn't in the last round. He's got a much better transition than Acrose. He safes it slightly, it looks like. He understands he's got a bit of a lead, and it looks like he's going to be able to maintain it as we go into the end. One more drift between Spam and staying in the competition. He's a bit wide.
But it's one too many.
He clips, and Acrose is going to take first place. Boz is going to be able to go into finalist with that performance, and now the pressure is on. Spam, when it mattered most, he couldn't close it out. He's got one more chance to do so.
This is tense. It's a double finalist. Boz versus Spam.
Spam has clipped.
Early mistake from Spam, and this now is a huge opportunity for Boz. 0.6 advantage to begin with, but the thing is, it's not been Boz winning rounds on this map and causing upsets. It's been Acrose.
Oh, he's pushing it so far. It's basically a 1v1. The 2 teammates, you have to wonder, will there be a look over the shoulder from Boz like, please, leave it to me. But Boz is in that crucial first spot for the moment. Acrose is hanging on for dear life. He's only 2 rounds away from getting finalist himself. But Boz is pushing away in the lead. Spam can only look on and hope that the man from Wales can save him from his own mistakes, but it's not looking like it is the case for the moment. Boz must realise he's got 0.3 of an advantage on his teammate.
But he doesn't! And he clips! This final drift has cost Spam his place in the lower bracket final, and now costs Boz his place as well. And Acrose, from the best part of 40 points behind at some point, is now only 1 round away from finalist himself. 2 more wins on the bounce for Welshman, and he will pull possibly the biggest upset of the entire tournament so far.
And Boz will be kicking himself if he does not end up qualifying from this. I mean, Spam as well, but Spam has been given a second chance at the cherry, but he's got a bad start again.
It's a mistake from Boz.
Acrose is in first, the pressure being a bit too much for all of these players. Acrose, if he can keep it together, he can send it to triple finalist and give himself another chance of staying in the competition from so far behind. We had crossed him out. He's got a former world champion behind him. The man who's on his home ground is hunting him down, and he gets more inside line than him. But Acrose crucially has more speed. They're both heading for a similar line. Acrose had a bit more airtime. Spam should have had good speed. Out of this section, it all comes down to the last drift. Spam has choked it previously. He's a little wide. Acrose gets it kind of nicely. It's going to be a triple finalist between Acrose, Spam and Boz, and it's up to anyone. It's anyone's game now. 1 more round to determine whether you stay in the competition.
This is it. Acrose, from so far back, has had an incredible run of form on these last couple of maps. And I think he will be very sad to see us heading off Think Twice.
Well, I don't know. We're heading to a new map. What are we heading to?
Is it Danger?
It's Danger close from Wizzy, the compatriot of the 2 Wumble players. Has he gifted them a chance at qualifying? And the nerves must be incredible. Massa must be so happy to be out of this game because what a performance from all 3 players. Nobody really able to close it out. Acrose showing up when it matters most. I don't know how to call this one. There's 1 round. Who can keep it together?
I do not know who I want to bet on here. This map is so difficult. There's so many different places you can make mistakes. You can lose out on that ice section.
I'll just remind everyone that currently this is the only match that is going on in the arena. Only these 4 players are in a lobby and playing. The other lower bracket match is over. The upper bracket is waiting for this match to end. Everyone, every player, every caster, every staff member is looking at these 4 players and who can qualify and keep their spot in the competition. The pressure is on. These are the moments where you can really show your worth.
Indeed. This might be a first LAN event for Boz and Acrose. They have performed insanely well. And no matter what happens now, we should be proud of how far they've made it. But we are underway on this pivotal, deciding round.
You can see
Spam
the nerves.
looks a little slow at the start. No one clips that outside dirt entirely, though. And Spam's in the wall! Spam is out of it. He has DNF'd, and it will be a British player making it through from this round, from this match. Will it be Boz or will it be Acrose? It's a 0.3 lead to Boz here, but we know that anything can happen on Danger. It's looking solid for Boz.
Acrose is catching up. And
1/10.
This might be one of the slowest rounds we see all day, but one of the most important ones.
Oh, how did Boz not go off
behind his teammate going up the uphill? Boz has more speed. Acrose is trying desperately to catch up as he can. A good drift from both. Acrose will attack this downhill. It's going to come down to the last drift between the 2 Wumble players. Will it be Wales? Will it be England? Acrose sets up more wide. He's got more speed, but he is wider.
Not enough!
Boz is going to keep it to the finish. 400ths of a second, and we have a second British player in the competition. What a match we have just seen.
Oh, absolutely gutting for Acrose there. After that comeback, it would have been the dream story if you're going to make it out, but all the props to Boz there. He held his nerve together when it finally mattered in that last round and beats out Spam and Acrose to take that second position in the match. I don't think we could have asked for more. Although, after all that chaos, I have to say, well done, Babs. That was your prediction, wasn't it? Boz and Massa.
It was my prediction, but I did not believe it would come true. That was first of all, we expected Spam and Massa. They showed up. They looked like the favourites early on. Massa was able to close it out, learn from his mistakes yesterday. and then Ballas had a good performance, and then suddenly you start to question, and then Acrose has a good performance, and then suddenly you start to question, and then we get into this situation, and it was all a bit too much for Spam. Boz, at the third time of asking, I think managed to close it out, but I think all players in that match deserve a massive GG. I'm so glad we were able to cast over this one because, man, that was some of the best Trackmania I've ever watched.
Yeah, for sure. That finalist, triple finalist there was absolutely nuts to see. And Spam will be kicking himself for the mistakes. Acrose will be gutted, but Boz must be so happy with his performance there to make it through to the next round into the top 8. And there are 3 more matches left in this tournament. All of those will be cast over on the Racers Summit channel. Which I would tell everyone to go and check out. I will certainly be going and checking that out after this. And yeah, I believe that wraps up our coverage of Racers Summit 2023. What an incredible event put on by the Dutch organisers, by Trugger, and Kem and everyone else involved over at the Gamex Centre in The Hague. I hope we can see more of these lands and more lands with British players in attendance so that we can follow these and we can do more of these casts. Because I feel like even if we aren't there ourselves, Babs, we can appreciate that this being a LAN has created matches this incredible.
Oh, you can only imagine the emotion that has been shown in the event, and I can only imagine the screams that were let out from the BITM camp when Boz qualified and everything happened. I hope we get some video footage off the LAN itself at some point.
Of course,
but yeah. Thanks so much for having me on, Pat, sir. Thank you to everyone for watching.